Time to get real, reality TV aficionados. Welcome to the Georgio Says podcast. I'm your host, the one and only Georgio Takanakis, and I'm here serving you the juiciest updates on all your favorite reality shows weekly, as well as the hottest pop culture trends, and even exclusive interviews that will leave you wanting more. This podcast will keep you on the edge of your seat. We definitely need to talk about this. The Georgio Says podcast starts now.
All right, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Georgio Says the podcast. I am your host, Georgio Takanakis. Obviously, guys, it's only Tuesday. Also, I just want to rant for a second, okay? I don't know what's going on. I know there's a retrograde. I also found out there's a blue full moon in Pisces. Listen, I am exhausted. I'm exhausted. And summer's come to an end. We're heading into fall, which I am kind of excited about. But I don't know what's going on, but I feel like I'm like between yesterday and today, I'm seeing things popping up where there's like content creators that are like beefing. One in particular is, I guess there's something going on with David Yontef and Kim D. They parted ways, and I saw her post something the other day. People are alluding to like a falling out, and there's a rabbit hole, I guess, of theories around this whole thing. And I'm not gonna dive into any of that, quite frankly, because I'm not interested really. But there's another set of content creators that have similarly had some sort of beef, and it's just interesting because it's like, I guess there's really nothing going on because maybe the cameras need to be focused on some of this, because this is seemingly like what is entertaining people, I guess. But at any rate, I wish everyone the best. I hope everyone works through whatever, beefs they have, whatnot, or they just go their separate ways and everyone's respectful and cordial to each other, because that we should all be supportive of each other if we're all doing something as close to what we're doing and talking to people. We're obviously going to have mutual people in common, so it gets sticky, I guess, when you are in a situation like David Yontef and Kim D, where I didn't really follow too much. I saw the clips of his podcast where she would be on it quite frequently. She was kind of like a staple, I would say. But then I read somewhere that I guess she was only on Saturdays or something, or she only recorded on Saturdays. I feel like she might have recorded more, because I feel like it was like she was on there a lot. Nonetheless, I'm not sure what happened there. I also know that, I had David on my podcast very early on in my podcast journey. He was very lovely to me. He was very kind to take time out of his busy schedule to come on my small little podcast. And so I haven't connected with him since. But I've seen a lot of people say that he's not really as nice anymore. I know he has some strong opinions where they lay in certain areas of topics, more specifically New Jersey. But I will say, I have to give him credit. He gets a lot of great interviews and a lot of great people. And I think that is one great thing that he has built on his podcast, is a great portfolio of interviews with celebrities of all kind, past, present, future, reality, non-reality, whatever have you. So, again, not sure what happened there between the two of them, but I hope that whatever it is, it doesn't get toxic. It feels like it's playing out in a negative way, at least from Kim D's side. Anyways, I'm not sure. I just wanted to check the pulse, if you will, because I'm feeling it. I'm starting to feel it now. We were already in a retrograde. We already had 2 full moons or new moons. I'm so like confused. You know what I need? I need to like I need another session with my dear friend Natalie Femtero, which I was intending on doing because it's I've kind of fallen off the bandwagon. I like to get reset every quarter. That's me personally because I'm just kind of like I'm an overthinker. I'm all over the place. It just kind of helps center me. And so yes, so note to self: need to book a session with Femtero stat. All right, we need to discuss Love V. Scott's article today that came out regarding Real Housewives of Atlanta for season 16, Sweet 16. Because listen, I I'm not sure what direction Atlanta's going to go in. I'm going to wait until the reunion's over and let's close this whole chapter, season 15. Let's just close it down and then let it breathe, and then hopefully by then, once the episodes have aired, maybe we'll understand maybe better what direction it could go in or what direction it will go in. Who knows? But nonetheless, I'm going to be discussing the Love B. Scott article around what they're alleging in the article is what is to come for season 16 of Atlanta. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to jump right into what's happening. Save Atlanta! We'll be right back. Need to escape life stresses? Bosa Massages in New Jersey offers blissful, Swedish, deep tissue, and hot stone massages both in office and at your home. Even Real Housewife Margaret Josephs raves about Bosa Massages. Or you can try their therapeutic cupping for those persistent problem areas. Not sure which is best for you? Reach out to Billy for a consultation at 848-252-4010 or email at bosamassages@gmail.com. That's Bosa Massages, BOSSAMASSAGES @gmail.com, and book a session with Bosa Massages, where New Jersey comes to relax. All right, welcome back, everyone. So yes, like I mentioned before the break, I'm not sure what direction Atlanta's going to go in. However, what I want to say is that before I get into the Love B. Scott article and then the Entertainment Tonight article that kind of talks about where Bravo is in the process, I just want to say that I see a lot of people throwing most of the blame on production. And although production has a hand in a lot of things regarding how the show gets put together, it's not all production. It can't. It just can't. Because and my friend, my TikTok friend and peer, Alfonso, who does commentary on reality and pop culture news as well, said something similar, because I think people are really missing the beat here. There are women on this cast, Kenya included, and I've said this before. I said this at the top of the season about Kenya. I love Kenya. She's a fellow Aquarius. I love, love, love her. Okay. But I also know when things are not happening. And I don't feel like, and I'm just speaking about her, I'm using her as one example. She's not the only person on the cast that did not bring it. Candy did not bring it. But now looking back, I wonder if it's because she floated on the fact that this production of the movie The Pass would then get streamed to Peacock, which is a whole separate deal outside of using it for a storyline. So, great for her. Amazing. I haven't seen the movie yet. I plan on watching it and maybe even doing a review of the movie, because I saw also a lot of people saying that there's a lot of art imitating life, which no shocker there. I do feel like a lot of Drew's sudden storyline has a lot to do with marketing this movie for Peacock, because everyone involved obviously would benefit. NBC Universal would benefit, Bravo benefits, Drew benefits, Ralph probably even benefits. I mean, he does. Candy benefits, Todd benefits. So there's a lot of people that are benefiting from that. But aside from the production of the movie, we didn't get to see much from Candy. She's very busy. We know she's worldwide. This is no disrespect to her. She is an icon, a legend, and, you know, she's an essential part of Atlanta. I'm not taking any of that away from her. However, it's not what I feel like is happening is that these people, the ones that have been on for a while, like Kenya or Candy, even Sheree, like they've been there, done that. And so now they know how to navigate so that they don't have to take on all of this, like where people are not being super intrusive in their real life. So sorry, I don't think that even if they had left the Kenya Moore spa hair salon bit in there as her storyline, which I do think it's really messed up that they only showed it as a flashback and not given her the full scene. However, aside from that, like that would not have made up for the lack of what I feel was Zero's storyline. We went back to the archives and we're pulling back from, Kenya Moore hair care. Like this is not enticing anyone to want to watch. Now, I get from Kenya's point of view when she's talking to Carlos King, look, I am not buying into any of this fake storyline stuff. But if we're going to be honest, a lot of these ladies fluff storylines all the time. So I think that, it does need to be looked at from maybe it's a financial lens, maybe they've been there, they're comfortable, they know how to play the game. They've, Kenya's clearly seeing that she's being cut out her storyline, but what storyline did she have? I'm confused. If we're just going to say that the entire storyline around her hair salon is what was missing here, then I don't know. I just don't see it. I don't see it. And congrats to her, by the way. I think that's amazing that she's grown her brand on this show to a level where now it gets its own freestanding space where people can actually go. But what else was going on? We don't have any, there's just nothing happening. Fake dating storylines where, we're trying to give this mashup of a closure to the season, and even the closing end cards didn't really tie up any storylines. It was just kind of these aren't updates, these are just kind of last minute, we can pull together. All we've got is this Drew bombshell situation. It's just, and I think now with cameras getting picked back up later in the season, and I don't know if you guys noticed this, and I get to some extreme, we've got to update people. It is good that they go back and pick cameras up at times, because then you feel like you miss out on this big part of the story because a season may have already wrapped filming, and so they've already moved on. And so we just have to say what went on. But nonetheless, with this particular franchise, I think there's been a lot of people given opportunities to be on the show that I feel personally don't need to be there. I don't think Drew was worthy of a peach holding status. I don't understand why, but I guess if the pickings are that slim, Atlanta, is it really that hard to cast? Because I mean, honestly, I'm not wishing a reboot on this franchise, because I get it. That's a long overhaul. That's a big process. And that's if you don't get the casting right on a reboot, I mean, look what New York had to deal with up until the season started airing. Lots of pushback. And even still, there are people that are adamant they are not ever going to like the new one, no matter how good it is, no matter how well received it is. Nope. I'm sticking with my OGs. And that's fine. That's fine. But with Atlanta, I don't necessarily think it needs to go to that extreme just yet. I really don't. I really don't. It's a bad season, I agree. But there does need to be some strong casting changes. But nonetheless, let's get into this Love B. Scott article. I'm going to summarize it for you guys. But basically, they're saying that production decided essentially during the filming of the season 15 reunion that they needed a complete reboot. Now, one of two things there. That could mean that they had to really pull a lot to try to make the reunion something that would be worth watching. It's only 2 parts, okay? So at least there's that. We're not going to get a stretched out part 2 to then finally get what should have just been 2 parts on part 3. Like, at least they're real with it. This is only worth 2 parts, so that's all it is. That's fine. But I feel like watching the trailer, a lot of people said this too, lots of props. Lots and lots of props. That little newspaper thing. Why? Why are we utilizing props at a reunion? Also, I said this before too. Why are they treating Drew and Ralph all of a sudden like they're head to head? And this is like, we didn't get to see too much of that play out. The last 15 minutes of the finale, you try to wrap this like bombshell up where you picked the cameras back up. Great. But like, honestly, like there's not much outside of that. And people are really questioning I guess, the authenticity of Drew's storyline. And I'm not saying that there aren't issues in that marriage because something clearly is going on. Otherwise, they're both really good actors and they're only doing this for the sake of being on TV and building a platform. Like, who knows? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Excuse me. But the article is basically saying that they're not bringing any of them back full time and that they want to fully recast this show and that they would essentially envision bringing 2 maybe current cast members back as friends of, similarly to what they did with Real Housewives of Miami with Adriana and Marisol, who were initially full-time, but now they're friends of, but they're essentially full-time because they pretty much are at every single thing. But nonetheless, so it looks like they want to kind of do it from the standpoint of the article. That's what they're envisioning. A brand new cast of women, and then these 2 kind of like current familiar cast members that are friends of. But see, to me, that would be even more tricky because how are you going to make familiar faces the friends of? Well, I mean, I guess you can, but it's not actually, guys. Sorry, I mean, I get that that's what they envision, but if I'm looking at it straight away, Miami has a lot more of the original cast members on it. It's just that they demoted Marisol and Adriana to make room for a couple new fresh faces, which worked beautifully. But I could then see them doing that, which essentially is just, I think they do need to demote a couple. I think Drew should be demoted. And I think, I hate to say this, Sonia needs to be demoted. And I think we do need to give a stern talking to Kenya and Candy and figure out, what do you guys want out of this? What are you willing to really bring to the table? Because honestly, like, it's not giving. And you can't keep regurgitating and adding just a couple new friends of. We don't need all these people in the mix just standing around. There's nothing going on. Courtney is a disaster. We don't need her back. I'm first of all, I'm almost like turned off at how like disgusting she was in her, I guess, hot mic, which I guess you guys, a lot of you said she knew she was still mic'd and talking. But then a lot of you were like, oh, production got her. So I'm not really quite sure what happened there. They could have easily said, we're just taking a break or we're done, we're wrapped. And she's just like chilling while they're undoing her audio or whatever they're doing. I have no idea. It's clear also that we're not sure that was that video that they show us with the hot mic. I mean, we would assume that was the same video attached to that audio. But again, we don't know that because we don't see her face. We don't see her mouth lining up with any of the audio. So there's a lot of creative ways to stitch things together for things, but that doesn't take out the disgusting things that she said, which it seems like honestly, like she's just out doing Ralph's dirty work. So no, I'm good with that. I don't need that type of messiness. We need to go back to Atlanta and let's focus in on the real stories of the women that are in these friendships, frenemyships, whatever you want to call it. And I do find it hard to believe that they can't cast people. But yeah, if you're only looking for famous people, then yeah, you probably will have an issue casting. But why can't you do what New York's doing? Go influencer route, go creative content marketing, or I don't know. There's tons of route. There's got to be so many different fabulous people in Atlanta. So, but if that's the case, guys, and look, I think a lot of people too put a lot of weight on what Love B. Scott says because she does have such a close relationship with Atlanta, Potomac. She's very much in there, and she's got great people on the ground on both franchises. So, when something like this comes up, even if it's not 100% true, where there's smoke, there's definitely fire. So there's definitely going to be some casting changes. Look, it needs a little break. It needs a break. They need to reassess what they are doing with this show. The cast is not currently the cast. It's just everyone's on a separate island and they're trying their best to stitch it together. People are coming up with fake beefs with each other that, in some of the scenes you clear as day. Like Sheree's whole storyline to me was all phony from the get. It's just like, how can we make this entertaining, but it's like a fraction of reality and people can read through it now more than ever. I mean, listen, I could go on and on and on about this. You guys pretty much know how I feel at this point about just how bad it is that you can't be bothered to bring something to the table. You guys get paid pretty well, I would say, and you get a lot out of the experience of being on a platform like this. And yes, it does have its downsides, I'm sure, and every situation has room for change and opportunity to grow into something better and more fair and more equitable. And but overall, you know, people got to promote their businesses, and that's pretty much all everyone wanted to focus on, it seemed like. There was nothing else going on outside of fake dating storylines and Drew's art imitating life, coincidentally. I mean, I need to watch the movie, and then when I watch the movie, then I'll reassess that theory because that's interesting, and I would love to see how close art was imitating life between the show and the storyline of the movie. But you know what? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I want to know, would you guys want a full reboot of Atlanta? Is that something we're ready for? Are we there yet? Or do we save Atlanta? Do we try to fix what's broken currently and move some puzzle pieces around, Let me know down below or send me a DM on Instagram. Let me know your thoughts. But that's all I got for this episode, guys. I know it was very short and sweet, but Atlanta's been a topic, obviously, because, finale. Now we've got the rumblings of what is an alleged reboot that's coming down the pipeline after the reunion airs. So I will keep you guys posted. Bravo does not seem to think that they are in a space where they're able to commit to something like that. From what I read through Entertainment Tonight, Bravo seems to be in a space where if they can't find the right cast, then they can't do the reboot. So I think they do have a lot of things they need to consider, and I think that it's definitely guaranteed that there's going to be some peach holders not coming back. That I can be certain of, but I will definitely keep you guys posted. I'm sure there will be more updates regarding this conversation, so I will definitely keep you in the loop. And before I close out on this episode, I just want to thank everyone for the massive amount of support. I am really, really working hard to try to bring you content in as many different ways and formats that make it convenient for you or entertaining or bring things to your attention that maybe you didn't have time to go look into. That is something that I'm passionate about doing for you guys. That's part of the reason why I do what I do. I'm passionate about Bravo, obviously, in reality TV and all that fun stuff. But I just want to say that a lot of you guys have really sent me some of the nicest messages. And I know I say this a lot, but I really mean it. You have no idea how much that means to me. And I know I can't get to every single one of your DMs all the time, but I really try my hardest to acknowledge the messages because you guys take time out of your day to listen to my podcast, to watch my TikToks, to look at my Instagram stories. And I don't take that for granted. So I just wanted to say that. And in the same breath, I'm going to plug myself. So if you're not following me on TikTok, what are you doing? I go there first for all my updates and recaps. So head on over there and follow me at Georgio Says. And you can also do the same on Instagram at Georgio Says. I do share a little bit more of my personal life. So if you're trying to get into my personal business a little bit, you should head over to Instagram. And if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, that makes me sad, but there's still hope in time because you can hit the subscribe button. And don't forget, you must hit the notification bell so it lets you know when I upload. And if you are watching this podcast, hello. And if you're listening, you can go back and watch this episode either via my YouTube channel or on Spotify. And if you guys feel inclined and you love this podcast, please go to your respective platform where you listen to my podcast and leave me a nice little 5-star review if you wish. I would greatly appreciate it, and so would my podcast. All right, guys, so I hope everyone has a great rest of your Tuesday. And until tomorrow, I will talk to you on the next episode. Bye, guys.